this is Sierra and welcome to another video. Today we're doing another video reading chapter 7 and 8, at least for the plan. And chapter 7 and 8 in this video. You can obviously tell from the title and thumbnail how far we went, but yeah. I'm aiming for 2 chapters, because why not? But it doesn't need to be. If you haven't read the other parts, you probably should do so, because there are spoilers. There is a playlist in the description where you can check out all the videos if you are interested. The next video, when it comes out, obviously will be down there too. So if you like this one and you want to continue, that's fine too. But that is honestly your choice. I'm okay either way. If you enjoy these videos, be sure to leave a like, let me know, and well, share it with any other Hermit fans out there, I guess, if you want to share this fanfiction. Woo! Yeah, I don't share this on Hermit Twitter because, I tagged the Hermit. So that's why. It's just like, typically we don't do that. But, since I tagged the Hermit perspective, well, it kind of ruins it. But, yeah. That's fine. People want to see it, they'll see it. Chapter 7. Drew reappeared a moment later, carrying a limp form over his shoulder, as Brian gasped. Tony. How had the man survived? Tony was badly beaten and bruised, one of his eyes swollen shut. The man was motionless. A lump formed in the boy's throat. I'd suggest you let my friends go before something bad happens to you, a familiar voice said darkly. Brian turned his head, gasping again, as he saw Joel standing on the other end of the hall, gas blaster in hand. His brown eyes burned with a fire Brian had never seen before. They're taking the girl through a secret passage, Brian said quickly, before Trent put a hand over his mouth. You can't save all of them, YouTuber. Drew scoffed, turning to face Joel. They'll get what they deserve soon enough, as will you. What have you done to my girlfriend? Joel narrowed his eyes. Remember, timey-wimey stuff. I sent some stuff back in time. Well, obviously, most of you won't remember this, but timey-wimey stuff. I changed some things. But it was easy enough for me to change Pat and Jen's relationship when I realized their situation. Same way here, yes, they're husband and wife in real life, but we're not quite there yet, because they've been separated for years, so they're, rekindling that relationship. And, yeah, there's a very potential thing that could happen. Not an impossibility, so just gonna leave that there. But for now, this is what their relationship is. I don't think I needed to explain it to anybody, but for that one person who's confused to why they're only boyfriend and girlfriend, this is why. The same way with Martin and Nettie, if you can believe it, and Stampy and Squishy. Because, yeah, it just... Oh, wow. It was Trent's idea. Excuse you. It was Trent's idea, Drew smirked. She would have been fine if she'd cooperated, Trent said, matter-of-factly. Joel shook his head, disappointment on his face. No better than to mess with me, traitors. A fireball exploded out of the blaster, launching through the air. It hurtled closer and closer as the boy squirmed, yelping when the ball just missed him by a few inches, searing the tips of his black hair. Trent screamed from behind, his grasp ripping away as Brian tumbled forward, the hint of smoke prickling his senses as the teen looked over, watching in horror as the man disintegrated into a pile of ash next to him. Nice shot, Drew smiled smugly, readjusting an unmoving Tony as he turned away. But I've already told you, It's already too late to save everyone. I disagree, Brian said, lunging toward the man's lower half and tackling him to the ground. He heard a thud and a groan as Brian scrambled toward Tony's unconscious form as Drew stumbled to his feet. Some friends of mine told me once that it's never too late to keep trying. Drew gave the boy a pained smile as Joel approached, holding the gas blaster high. You're too smart for your own good, kid. Where are they? Joel insisted, stepping in front of Brian defensively. Far from here, most likely, Drew gloated. You failed her, just like you did last time. A growl filled the room as a large wolf appeared behind the man. Brian blinked. Drew didn't have time to react as the wolf pounced on him. The man screamed as lightning tore through his body, his clothes bursting into flames. The wolf tore at the man's throat with her teeth as the man grew limp before disappearing into dust to her large paws. They are wild. Basil! Brian's eyes widened with surprise as the large wolf looked over at him, wagging her tail once before looking back toward Tom's office, just as the door swung open. Stacy stumbled back into the hallway, still holding Lizzie tightly in her arms. You won't believe what happened, Stacy gasped, attempting to catch her breath as Joel sprinted forward, steadying the woman down at his girlfriend in his friend's arms. We were being pushed down a long dark path when the wolves showed up. I tried to warn him if he tried taking me away that they'd come. Where are the other wolves? Joel said calmly. Scouting for stragglers. Stacy breathed softly, holding the adrenaline, leaving her as exhaustion filled her eyes. Children, if there's any that got away. She didn't take them, did she? Brian frowned. Nick told me. Stacy lowered her head sadly. He watched the men take the children to the portal. They're gone. Missing. We'll fight them, Joel assured her. But first, we need to tend to your injuries. He looked over at Brian expectantly. The young man nodded. There's no telling what she's doing to them, Stacy insisted. She wants them for some kind of experiment. We need to find them. We need to get someone to help. Let me take care of that, Joel said gently, squeezing her shoulders. Need to rest. Stampy is safe, Joel smiled. She looked up at him, meeting his gaze. You're sure? Kate spoke to Rose not too long ago, Joel replied. Stacy let out a sigh. So everyone's safe? Yes, Joel nodded. For now. Tony groaned beside Brian as the teen turned his attention away from his friends, checking him over. The man didn't have too many injuries, which is a bright boy. Tony had been in the center of the battle to keep the men from taking the children. How had he endured so much and still make it out alive? The man groaned again before his eyes opened. Finding Brian. She didn't take you, he said softly. Brian nodded. I'm not sure why. She took Connor. Tony smiled sadly. The others? Gone. Brian swallowed, looking over at Stacy and Joel. They took the kids. I don't know what happened to the other adults. Murdered. Stacy spoke barely above a whisper. The color drained from her face. He had his watch. Proof that no one would be able to stop them. Someone did, Joel snapped, gently guiding the woman closer to Brian and Tony. I need to make some calls. Excuse me. You think the space is good now? As long as more of them don't come, Stacy replied. Brian smirked, nodding over at Basil. I don't think they'll dare, especially not with the wolves so close. Stacy nodded, disappearing into one of the bedrooms with Joel as Brian got to his feet. He had a lot of things he needed to do to help his friends make sure they were safe. Oh, Dazzler! You are quite the talkative one today. Did I not talk as much today as you wanted me to? Come on, Daz. Oh, Dazzy. Chapter 8. We're just going with it. Brian stepped back from the bed, looking down at his fellow protector and mentor fast asleep. Tony's injuries had all but disappeared. His right eye was barely swollen now, no longer looking a deep purple, when one of the men had punched him. Brian hadn't needed to give him any bandages, since there had been no serious cuts or slashes. He looks better, Joel spoke softly from behind the boy. Brian jumped, turning to see the man peeking his head into the room. They never told you it was one of us. I guess no, Brian admitted, keeping his head down. He's friends with a lot of people. Joel stepped into the room. Tony's a good man, always willing to pitch in when needed. He tried to stop them from taking the children, Brian said. That's his job, Joel smiled. We should let him rest. Stacy and Lizzie are okay. Is it safe to leave them all alone? Brian frowned. Joel gestured nonchalantly to the corner of the room. Brian spotted one of Stacy's wolves curled up in a corner, sound asleep, or at least appeared that way. I'm sure you want to talk to Liam. Can I? Brian looked up at the man, surprised. Joel smirked. Staying at Hermit Fortress, of course you can. I'm sure Sam would love to hear from you too. Brian nodded. Connor? As far as I know, he's safe. Far away from danger, Joel said simply. Carl wouldn't risk putting him in harm's way. Rhinestone isn't happy with him. No, I suppose she would be, but what do you expect when you force people to work for you? Joel chuckled, gesturing for the boy to follow. Brian didn't object, leaving Tony alone to rest. They wouldn't be far if there was trouble, or if the men would come back. Would they come back? Or did this carnival guy not know they escaped? Yeah, like carnivore. It's kind of like how you normally would say carnival. Definitely don't have Secret of the Mimic on the mind. The school may still be affected by the null, Joel replied, breaking the long silence. No, Brian asked. It's something that can block redstone signals, Joel stated. It shut down all of Impulse's gadgets, and even Scar's wheelchair, leaving them vulnerable. There was an attack? Brian gulped. Joel nodded solemnly. Unfortunately. Is anyone hurt? It's taken care of. No losses. Brian sighed in relief as they walked down the hall, heading for Tom's office. Joel pushed open the door, ushering for the team to step aside. Brian stepped into what used to be a cozy, warm, and welcoming space. It was now in tatters. Furniture torn to shreds. Papers scattered over the floor. The desk had been smashed. Something heavy. The boy frowned. Not really suitable for a meeting, huh? Joel shook his head. At least there's no screaming, Brian replied. Joel closed his eyes and sighed. Could have gotten here sooner, the YouTuber admitted after a long moment. I couldn't shake the feeling that Lizzie was in trouble. I tried to call school, to call her, but nothing came through. I knew something was wrong. I'm sorry. Brian looked over at the man, his heart filling sympathy. It had to be hard. It's just the love of my life. Joel kicked a torn chair leg across the room. I could never forgive myself if I couldn't protect her again. Well, Brian nodded. You know she doesn't blame you for what happened, right? I do, but that doesn't change the fact that I should have known better. Joel scowled. I shouldn't have trusted him so quickly, so readily. But you didn't fail this time, Brian insisted. Joel nodded. She needed me. Brian scanned the room, unsure of what he'd find in the mess. Those guys really seem to want to get at Stampy. They believe Gerald's lies. Brian shook his head. Something about this doesn't make sense. Lizzie wouldn't know where Stampy was. Neither was Stacy, right? The last ones who saw him were Sam and Rose, Joel said. Exactly. So, how would torturing them get what they wanted? I don't know, kid. Joel pulled out a communicator from his pocket and looked down at it. The null here seems to have been deactivated. I destroyed all of their communicators. That's good. Joel peeked over his shoulder to see the screen. Do you think the note might be connected to those? Joel shrugged, tapping on some coordinates before sending the signal through. The device beeped for a couple of seconds before flashing something on the screen. Seriously? Still blocked? Brian frowned. This is ridiculous. Joel groaned, typing in another set of coordinates before the machine beeped again. This time, the speakers came to life with an unfamiliar voice. Hello? Hey, Scott. Just testing something quick, Joel said briskly. Everything good over where you're at? Yeah, Scott replied. You know, Jem tried to call you earlier. Where were you? She did? Yeah, she did. Scott sighed. You ran off. She was worried. Oh, I'm fine, Joel said simply. Tell her I'll get back as soon as I can. For some reason I can't reach her. Huh, okay, Scott said thoughtfully. Just be on the lookout for any trouble out there, Joel said quickly. These idiots have a new toy that blocks redstone signals. Might make things more difficult for our protectors. Scott chuckled. I'll keep a lookout for that. Thanks. Anytime, Joel stated before cutting the call. The hermit frowned, lowering the gadget, moving his gaze toward the window. You okay? Brian asked. Yeah, Joel shook his head. She's probably busy. Not sure you believe that, the boy pointed out. The man's shoulders fell. No. Anything I can do to help? Joel glanced over at him. Help with what? I need to get back to Hermit Fortress anyway. The protectors must be looking for me everywhere. You left without your protectors? Brian's eyes widened. I didn't have time to tell them where I was going. Joel snapped his fingers, pocketing the communicator into his pocket. Brian shook his head. Still, you know how risky that is, right? Of course I do. Joel met his gaze. And so does Jem. Whatever is going on, they'll be okay for an hour or two before I return. She may call back. Brian blinked, trying to read the man's flat expression. We need to let someone know what happened here. Right, you're right. Joel snapped out of his expressionless daze as he pulled out his communicator again. Let me get in touch with somebody, and if Jem doesn't call back by the time things are settled, I'm going back. Not alone, Brian said matter-of-factly. Joel looked at him, momentarily surprised. You need to stay here to keep the girls safe. Brian shook his head. Lizzie wouldn't want you going off on your own. We don't know what might be going on, and besides, there are kids out there who are in trouble. I'm not going to sit here and let that woman do whatever she wants to them. Joel's eyes softened as he nodded. I won't rest until I find them, I promise. We find them together, Brian said firmly. As we know the hermits are safe, we find them. Deal? Joel smiled. Very well. I guess we have enough time to do a chapter 9. If we want to go to 20 minutes. Well. I know, right, Daz? Yeah. Half an hour passed as Brian peeked out the third story window of the school, looking down at the field below. There was no sign of any of the defectors, or Dr. Renson's men, anywhere on the grounds. It was quiet. It was too quiet. Joel had called in for backup, reporting the incident that had happened earlier that day. How long had Brian and the others been trapped here? Days? Weeks? Brian couldn't be sure. So sure. It felt like forever. Just waiting for something to happen. No, something was happening. At least it was supposed to. He's not here yet? Lizzie's soft voice asked from behind Dean. Brian looked over, seeing the woman standing not far from him, looking over his shoulder. He's busy, Brian admitted. He doesn't have us to worry about. There are hundreds of others who need his attention too. I know, she sighed. We need more people like you willing to help. Yeah, Brian shrugged. Well, they're either in hiding or busy protecting their charges right now. As they should, Lizzie agreed. Your family would be proud of you. Maybe, Brian nodded. Anyway, I don't remember my parents. And my grandparents and foster parents are missing, supposedly dead, but yeah, I'm still here. Still fighting for the people I care about. Lizzie came up to the young man's side. Joel told me you were going on a mission with him once Carl gets here. Charlie, Henry, Summer, and Rain are out there somewhere, Brian said softly. Their families fought everything to ensure that they were safe here at school. The girls lost their dad, Henry losing his uncle, and Charlie... Lizzie put a hand on Brian's shoulder. You're a good teacher. You'll find a way if they can't, if we can't reach them. It's my job to make sure they got out. All of them. Brian swallowed. Lizzie shook her head. You did your best. Tony wanted you to try. You did. I know you'll find them. Get them back. Brian closed his eyes, feeling the warm afternoon sun on his face through the window. But I'm not like Sam or Liam. I don't have experience rescuing people. You know your friends well. I think they would say you're ready. Brian smiled, opening his eyes again. He spotted a figure approaching school. Tall, muscular, in the classic camo uniform. Carl had finally arrived. I feel anything but ready, Brian replied softly. Lizzie patted him on the shoulder. You've got Joel and the other hermits. They'll help you. All you have to do is ask. Brian looked over at her and nodded. What is that? Thanks, Lizzie. Anything for my friends. Lizzie beamed, her deep ocean blue eyes full with happiness, any hint of pain long gone and long forgotten. I'd go with you, but I don't think Joel would let me. Brian chuckled. Stay safe, will you? I will if you will, she replied, giving the boy a quick hug. Brian held her for a few moments before pulling away, wiping tears from his eyes. Stacey and Lizzie were safe. So was Tony. His friends were safe. Most of them. Well, most of them. Flash of Rain's piercing blue eyes. Summer's nervous expression filled his mind. Where were they? There's a pause. Brian blinked away the bright light of the portal as he stepped onto the forest on the other side. The forest was strangely still. No soft buzzing from bees, no bushes rustling from rabbits, no cows or sheep to be found. Joel stepped forward to stand beside the boy. You want to try to call them again? Brian looked over at Joel. Hermit frowned, putting a hand in his pocket. I don't think it'll work. Not if they have the null activated at the base. Brian nodded. Do you know how it works? No. Tango, B-dubs, and Impulse were trying to recreate it to get an idea, but they didn't get very far. Gotcha. Brian looked straight ahead. So, we follow the path? Yep. Brian led the way, careful not to step on any dry leaves or fallen twigs on the ground. He doubted anyone was out here watching the portal, but didn't know what his enemy was capable of or what they would do. He couldn't be so sure either of them were safe here. Sean and Kane will have plenty to say to me when we get back. Joel sighed, looking up at the sky, which was mostly cloudy. Honestly, if anything did happen, I'd rather they be at the fortress to protect the hermits. They need them more than I do. Brian shook his head. I'm sure they'll understand. The duo fell quiet once more as they continued on the dirt path. Brian kept alert, trying to hear any sign that some sort of life was out there. Even a moth that's out and burned in sunlight would be a better sign than nothing. Put a hand on his newly crafted iron sword that Joel had given him. They had to be ready for anything. Ahead, you could see the start of a clearing, as well as a high wall. In front of them was an iron gate, which was closed as Joel grabbed the boy by the shoulder. Wait, Joel warned, pulling the boy off the path. The two of them hid behind a tree. I need to see if Matthias is there. He's usually guarding the gate. Okay, Brian whispered, watching the hermit slink off. Brian peeked from around the tree, seeing the gate again. He didn't see anyone guarding it, but knowing the hermits, they probably had some way to keep an eye out. Meetups had told him quite a lot when he and Isaac stopped by at the school after Liam called for backup. There was a lot of smart individuals inside those walls, willing to do whatever it took to help the people who needed it. The young man spotted Joel further ahead, carefully scaling one of the stone walls, looking every which way. Was he looking for cameras? Visibility detectors? Joel wasn't invisible, though, so why would he be worried about that? Brian yelped when a hand fell on his shoulder as he turned around, meeting eyes with a tall young man with golden blonde hair and deep blue eyes. The older boy smiled at him curiously. "Sam, what are you doing here?" Brian hissed, tackling his friend into a hug. "It's been ages since I've seen you." "I know," Sam agreed. He decided to go down to the bunker instead of seeing an old friend. Brian felt his cheeks warm. Someone needed to be there in case the bunker was found. Sam nudged him playfully. "I'm only teasing." Brian smiled. "Cool." "So what are you doing here?" Sam asked, raising an eyebrow. "Well..." Brian looked over at the wall again. Joel was sitting on top of it, looking over the other side. "Joel went in on a bit of an adventure, and I wanted to make sure he got back safe." Sam chuckled. "Pretty sure he can take care of himself." "Yeah, I know." Brian swallowed, remembering Trent's scream as it's the wrong word, yeah, as he disintegrated in front of him. Joel had saved his life. Brian shuddered. The YouTuber had misjudged him by a little bit. "You okay?" Sam asked, bringing Brian back to reality. "It's been a long week." "No kidding," Sam agreed, peeking around the tree again. "Dango asked me to see how the hermits here were doing. He didn't get the scheduled call last night." "He didn't?" Brian frowned. Sam shook his head. "Neither did Mumbo. You'd think someone would be on top of that." "And you can't reach them either?" Brian tilted his head. Sam frowned. "You tried calling them too?" "I did," Joel assented, appearing into view. "Jem tried calling me earlier after I ran off to help Lizzie. I never got the call." "Blocked," Brian said softly. Sam shook his head. "This isn't good." "Have you seen anything going on?" "The outside is quiet," Joel reported. "I didn't see anyone in the towers or through the windows. Granted, I didn't check the entire perimeter." "We should do that," Sam replied. "If there's been an attack, we need to get in to investigate." He pulled out his communicator, typing in some coordinates. "Aiden? Aaron? I need some backup." "Is everything okay?" Aaron's voice spoke through the speaker. "We may have to rescue some people," Sam reported. "Joel and Brian are here. They weren't able to reach anyone inside." "Not the Nola can," Aiden sighed. "We'll be right over," Aaron replied. "I need to let False's protector know where we're going, just in case." "Good idea," Sam said, ending the call and pocketing the device. He looked over at Joel. "Did you check any recent portal activity when you came through?" "Never thought to," Joel replied, shaking his head. "I was hoping they'd be busy with training or something." "Without Messiah's here?" Sam gestured to the gate. "Very likely." "So what's the plan?" Joel asked, looking back toward the base. "First, we see if anyone is in there. Then we see if we can take back the base," Sam replied. "Do you feel anything, Joel?" Joel shook his head. "Sorry." "That's fine." Sam straightened as Aiden and Aaron flew in a few moments later, with the lighter wings dropped to their backs. "No one's patrolling the wall," Aiden said simply. "Thanks for clarifying." Sam strapped on his own wings and looked over at Brian. "Need a hand over?" "Sure," Brian replied. Sam looped arms with him, and the group flew into the air as Brian gasped, looking down at the shrinking trees below. "We won't be spotted from up here, right?" Joel asked. "No, but there are cameras on the roofs of the main building and towers," Aaron pointed out. "Some are attached to the walls of the structure, too." "Guessing you don't have access to the cameras," Brian pointed out as they landed on the wall, the farthest away from the gate. "You think I'd be trying to look in if I did?" Sam raised an eyebrow. "The impulse did give me access, but the knowledge prohibited me from using any tech inside these premises." "Of course it did," Brian said as Sam pulled out a spyglass, kneeling on the wall as he used it to look into the windows. "We need to be careful no one sees us." "Most areas are covered," Joel replied, "so it's inevitable. But maybe that's good. They'll come out to stop us, and we'll deal with them. Not unless they decide to take away any prisoners, Brian said curtly. They tried to do that with us. They? Sam frowned, looking away from the spyglass. Defectors attacked the school and gave the great doctor her new experiments, Joel said scornfully. Traitors. They wanted to use me to get you to tell them where Stampy was, Brian added quickly. Sam nodded, his expression grim. And the others? Safe, Brian confirmed. Lizzie, Stacy, and Tony were the only adults who survived the attack. The children were taken. Sam closed his eyes and took a long, slow breath. Okay. Did they say where they were taken? Hayden asked. His eyes round as saucers. As round as saucers. Whatever. Brian shook his head. I would have had someone go fetch them if I did. Right, Aaron replied. You know who was taken? Brian bit his bottom lip as Sam inhaled sharply. Spotted. Bottom right window. Who is it? Joel asked quickly. Jam? Pearl? No, I see my brother and Kate talking by the window, Sam said calmly. There are others in the room with them, but I can't tell who. No hermits? Aaron frowned. Not from what I can see. They could be in another room, Sam said, using the spyglass to peek into other rooms. Oh, not seeing anything. No guards? Joel pressed. A couple inside the sleepover room. I suppose there's more out in the main room, Sam stated. See the kitchen from this angle? We could use the back door to sneak in, Aiden suggested. Good, Sam agreed. But we don't know how many of them are there. Or what those two goons inside will decide to do. We'll try to do to our friends if we attack now. Maybe we can create a distraction, Aaron said softly, as Sam pocketed the spyglass. See if we can't lure some of them outside. It's worth a shot, Sam replied. But I'm staying by the window, in case they try something. Brian and I will go through the back door then, Joel offered. See if we can't pick any of them off. Sam nodded. Great, then we best get to it before they start getting any ideas. And now we have it. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. It will be coming up next week, maybe, probably, yes, next week for chapter 10 and 11. But yeah, I'm mainly doing this because there are odd numbers of chapters in this one, apart from the epilogue. Should I do the epilogue as its own, or do I bunch it in because it's a different perspective? But I don't know. What do you guys think I should do? But yes, there is an epilogue here that teases what's coming next. But and I need to rest my voice again. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one, whatever that might be. Be sure to leave any thoughts and theories in the comments below. Like the video, share it, the drill, what to do. And yeah, watch more of my videos, I guess. I don't know. Do whatever you want. Have fun. Bye.